The mother of 14-year-old Kariana Rice is speaking out about her daughter's death. Instead of picking out dresses for an upcoming dance, she's now having to make her daughter's funeral arrangements.
We miss her. We miss her so much. It's hard. It's hard, y'all.
The loss of her granddaughter, 14-year-old Kariana, still hasn't set in for Marilyn Rice. Known as Kiki to many, the teen was shot and later died after a fight was supposed to happen in this park in Birmingham's West End Friday. Her mother, Alicia Rice, says she would have never allowed her daughter to go to the park.
I called her and said, go home. She said, I'm going home, Mom. And she texted me. She said, Mom, I'm sorry. She said, but I got to fight this girl one more time. And that's what she told me. She didn't tell me she hung up and texted me. She said, I got to fight her one more time. Not one more time, but she said, I got to go and fight her and get it over with. Yeah.
Alicia says,
it starts out with a bastard seed, and with a little sunlight, it grows from a side chick to a single mother. Welcome everybody to Baby Mamas, Side Chicks, and Bastard Kids.
You know, sometimes when you look at death, and look at the article of what just happened, you got to really it's something that's bad that happened, but we need to take things in moments like this to really look at the problem we're having today with the single mother raising single children. The killing was a bad thing, absolutely. But when you look and peel back all the elements of this murder, you will see that every individual in this thing probably stemmed it from a single parent home with no father in it. Now, the story is two Alabama teens arrested for fatally shooting 14-year-old girl over Facebook dispute. Now, there are two phases I want to talk about here. The number one phase, I want to talk about the girls' part in all this. And then I want to talk about these two punk-ass little boys' parts in all of this. I'm sure both individuals, no father in their life. Because, and I want to start off with the 14-year-old who was shot by, you have a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old boy, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this is what I'm talking about when you have a child out of wedlock, the dad is not there. Most kids are not going to listen to the mom. And as you can see in this, she never listened to her mother. It was written, and I quote, I called her and said, go home. She said, I'm going home, mama. And then at that point, she should have went home. See, ladies, the problem is every choice that you make is going to come with some type of repercussions if you're not doing the right thing. Having unprotected sex with somebody, I can go on with that. But in this case, this young girl did not go home when she was told. She was commanded to do something from her mother. She did not do it. And you have to understand something. It's one thing when you touch a hot stove. That's a mistake. Doing it twice is a choice. I've always said that. The next thing she says here, she texted and said, Mama, I'm sorry, but I got to fight this girl one more time. You can now that shows me right there is no father in the house. No young 14-year-old girl should be engaging in fights at that age. She should be worried about her schoolwork and building her future instead of sitting around fighting a bunch of other bastard-ass kids. But she did that. That was where the problem lies, because she didn't pay attention to her mother. She didn't follow her mother's instructions. And when you don't follow your parents' instructions and you think you know the world, bad things happen. That's what she told me. Okay, she said she hung up. She got to fight her one more time. And this is so stupid. You have to fight her one more time? Then you know what? Let's zoom on up to the next two fools that happened. She was bullied by a group of girls on Facebook. So, okay, you know what? Life is not sunshine and rainbows. We've said that before. But according to the girl's mother, they decided, look, Rice and a group of girls decided to meet at a park on Friday to fight face to face. The mother knew about this, that there was a dad, you've got to handle yourself like a lady and not some goddamn thug. The fight would be videotaped and posted online. See, this is already coming to a head. It's the perfect storm. You got a group of set of bastard kids. You know they're trying to get famous, and then there's World Star, and they're all trying to come together so they can post this thing online, which is quote-unquote a crime when you are beating somebody to a pulp. During the scuffle, the two teenage boys, 17 and 19, 17-year-old boy and 19-year-old boy, which means the 19-year-old boy should have been out of school. But again, bastard kids, no drive. No thought about going to college. No thought about doing anything with his life. He has a gun with him. They both have guns. And I think one of the teenage boys was dating one of the girls who were fighting. And again, no supervision over these kids whatsoever. And when you do that, you get a perfect storm of animalistic behavior. And all of a sudden, the 17 and the 19-year-old fired several shots at that little girl. They shot her. And this is how I know these boys don't have a dad. Because a dad would not allow, especially a 19-year-old boy, walk around with a gun and not have his education and stuff together. Pathetic. What a fucking shame. But again, this is what happens when you make bad decisions and sleeping with ain't shit men that just want to fuck you. These two boys shot that girl. They killed the girl. Good thing they were arrested on Monday morning. But the point of it all is that this was something that could have been avoided if only the girl made the proper choice of going home when her mother said, number one. And number two, her mother, it seemed like her mother knew that she was going to go to the park and fight other girls face to face. Then you have the group of crowd out there egging this on so they can film it and post it on World Star. Meanwhile, the children that are loved by their parents that are aged 14 are still being able to get their education. There are boys out there, young men out there, 17 and 19, who are preparing for college, preparing to grow, to study, because they have parents that love them and care about them. This is why we're going to celebrate Baby Mama's Day, because of things like this. Things like this are awful. It's sad. It's a shame. But it has to be discussed and talked about. This is why we have to stop these women from creating these bastard kids, because these women are not watching their kids. And they think they want these kids. They want to play house, or they want to trap the man. Then they realize it doesn't go on. They leave them kids to the TV, and then they start all over again. It is a cycle. And hopefully this cycle will stop pretty soon, because this is ridiculous. It is sad. It is a shame. But it's even worse. I don't see any Jesse Jacksons, no Al Sharptons. I don't see anybody marching, protesting, or looting for this stupid ass behavior. That's even worse in itself. But again, it is what it is. But I want to say something to you ladies out there, or you young ladies out there who are probably watching this and are having unprotected sex. You are just as bad as these people, because you're going to cause a cycle. You're going to continue this cycle of ancient kids being born, little bastard ass kids being born, running around, destroying property, creating crime, shooting, killing, and mugging, while you are sitting on there on Facebook, on Instagram, or trying to find the next man that you can hook up. What a fucking shame. All of this could have been avoided. All of it could have been avoided.